A couple of years ago now, a student of mine gifted me a book, and it's this one right here, called What Painting Is by James Elkins. And I will be honest, I haven't read the book from cover to cover. I'm a very slow reader, and reading is just, forcing myself to sit down just doesn't always happen. But I was perusing it the other day because I want to stop perusing my Instagram feed and start perusing real life objects. And I got to chapter 6 looking through, and it says, "The studio as a kind of psychosis." So let me read you a little bit of that. "It is important never to forget how crazy painting is. People who buy paintings or who write about them tend to think painting begins in the cosmopolitan world of museums and art galleries, and that its meanings are explored in departments of art history. But painting is born in a smelly studio where the painter works in isolation for hours and even years on end. In order to produce the beautiful framed picture, the artist had to spend time shut up with oils and solvents, staring at glass or wooden surfaces smeared with pigments, trying to smear them onto the other surfaces in turn. Painting is peculiar in that respect. Writers and composers are much closer to the finished product. Their words or notes appear instantly and cleanly on the page. There is no struggle forming the letters A, B, C, or writing notes. But painters have to work in a morass of stubborn substances. For those reasons, the act of painting is a kind of insanity. It may seem unfashionable to say so, but because postmodern doctrine has given up on the old notion that artists are melancholic geniuses prone to manic depression and beyond the reach of ordinary common sense, well, maybe. But even the most commercially minded artist has to wrestle with raw materials and get filthy in the process. Except for a few 19th century painters who worked in impeccable three-piece suits, complete with watch change and boutonnieres, painters have usually managed to coat themselves in spots and smears, and so to bring their work home with them like the smell on a fisherman. In an art school or a studio, it is always possible to tell which artist spends the most time working, because the paint gradually finds its way onto every surface and every possession. Francois Gillot tells the story of visiting Alberto Giacometti's atelier. He was working in clay, and his studio resembled his work. The wooden walls seemed impregnated with the color of clay, almost to the point of being made out of clay. We were at the center of the world completely created by Giacometti, a world composed of clay. There was never the slightest color accent anywhere to interfere with the endless uniform gray that covered everything. Sooner or later, every one of a painter's possessions will get stained. First to go are the studio clothes and the old sneakers, Sooner or later, every one of the painter's possessions will get stained. First to go are the studio clothes and the old sneakers that get the full shower of paint every day. Next are the painter's favorite books, the ones that have to be consulted in the studio. Then come the better clothes, one after another, as they are worn just once into the studio and end up with the inevitable stain. I don't have any knowledge of this staining. What are you talking about? Staining. What? Studio clothes? No. The last object to be stained is often the living room couch, the one place where it is possible to relax in comfort and forget the studio. When the couch is stained, the painter has become a different creature from ordinary people, and there's no turning back. My couch is not stained yet. I will tell you that. Yeah, but who knows? No one who has not experienced that condition can understand the odd feeling that accompanies it. When every possession is marked with paint, it is like giving up civilian clothes for jailhouse issue. The paint is like a rash, and no matter how careful a painter is, in the end it is impossible not to spread the disease to every belonging and each person who visits the studio. Some artists keep fighting it and they turn up for work wearing clothes with only a few discreet stains. Others give way and they become funny, mottled creatures like GIs in perpetual camouflage. Working in a studio means leaving the clean world of normal life and moving into a shadowy domain where everything bears the marks of the singular obsession. Outside the studio, furniture is clean and comfortable. Inside, it is old and unpleasant. Outside, walls are monochrome or pleasantly patterned in wallpaper. Inside, they are scarred with meaningless graffiti. Outside, floors can be mopped and vacuumed. Inside, they build up layers of crust, paint, that can only be scraped away or torn up with the floor itself. The studio is necessary insanity. Perhaps writers have insanities of paper or of erasers, but they cannot compare with the multicolored dementia caused by fluids and stone. Well, yeah, there's more, but I'll stop there.